After the Gu family's heirs from Beijing became pregnant, I disappeared. After that, the business world spoke of a ruthless, heartless female chief executive, a legend who remained single and never married. Yet no one knew she'd risked her life in the delivery room for me. Night after night, she counted the days, waiting for someone who would never return. 5 years later, I returned to the place that had once imprisoned me. Driver, take me to Xinghai Villa. Inside the villa, Gu Shuwan crouched in front of little Sisi. Her voice was soft and gentle. Sisi, why aren't you in bed yet? You have school tomorrow. Mommy, why isn't Daddy here yet? He promised he'd come back for my birthday. The next second, big tears came spilling down. She looked at her mother, utterly heartbroken. Gu Shuwan stroked little Sisi's head, looking into those eyes and brows so like mine. Her heart softened despite itself. Her voice grew even gentler. Of course not. Daddy loves Sisi very much, but Daddy is very busy with work. Something came up, so he couldn't return. How about Mommy takes you to school tomorrow? For once, Sisi seemed to see right through her. She burst into loud sobs. You're lying. Daddy just doesn't like me. All the other children have their daddies take them to school. Only mine never does. Gu Shuwan didn't know how to comfort her. She was right. A-Qian didn't love her. He didn't love their child either. Even Sisi could see the truth. Only she had been lying to herself. Uncle Wang saw me standing frozen in the doorway. I was watching Sisi cry. He was frantic. The son-in-law never liked Sisi to begin with. And now Sisi was making such a fuss. What if she angered him? He quickly spoke up to remind me. Sir, why aren't you going inside? Hearing him, Gu Shuwan looked my way. Even she didn't realize. When her eyes had turned so tender, she quickly rose and came to me. Then she suddenly threw her arms around me. She rested her head lightly against my chest, as if making sure this wasn't a dream. Have you held me long enough? I spoke in a lazy voice. Only then did Gu Shuwan reluctantly let go. She took out a pair of slippers from the shoe cabinet, then crouched down and put them on me herself. She did it with effortless familiarity. After she was done, I strode into the living room. I looked at the little brat before me, her face streaked with tears, still hiccuping between sobs. Every time I saw her before, I would think of Gu Shuwan breaking her promise. Gu Sisi had been an accident. I had no idea how to face her, so I fled from it all. After thinking for a moment, I said, "Don't cry. Daddy's home." My voice was a little stiff, but once the words fell, Sisi stared blankly, forgetting to cry. Even Gu Shuwan looked at me in shock. I coughed, pretending to be calm. Gu Shuwan forgot her surprise at once. She hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Do you have a cold? I'll have them bring medicine." "No need. I don't have a cold." I looked at the child, who resembled Gu Shuwan so strongly, still so little and innocent. Tenderness touched my features too. I slowly crouched down and met little Sisi's eyes. My voice softened without me realizing. "Why aren't you asleep?" "Daddy, I missed you. Today is Sisi's birthday. You said you'd celebrate it with me. Did you forget?" "I didn't forget. See, I hurried back, didn't I? I even brought you a birthday present. See if you like it." As I spoke, I handed the gift to little Sisi. This time, even Gu Shuwan couldn't hide her shock. A-Qian had never willingly paid Sisi any attention, much less come home to celebrate her birthday or buy her a present. Did A-Qian still intend to leave her? Tears welled in Gu Shuwan's eyes. "Daddy, thank you for the Barbie doll. Then tomorrow, can Daddy and Mommy take me to preschool together?" "Gu Sisi, go to bed now. Daddy is very tired. Let him rest." Before I could answer, Gu Shuwan hurriedly cut in. "Gu Shuwan, have I really now lost even the right to take my daughter to school?" I turned to Gu Shuwan, but I still caught the flash of panic in her eyes. "A-Qian, I didn't mean that. I thought you didn't want to look me in the eye." Gu Shuwan froze for a moment. Then she seemed to realize something. Her lashes hid the emotions in her eyes. "A-Qian, I told you, unless I die, I will never leave you." Gu Shuwan looked at me, her voice unwavering. I couldn't help but admire her resolve. I treated her terribly before. I'd left her with no sense of security. Even the slightest kindness made her suspect an ulterior motive. Little Sisi still had no idea what was happening. She tugged at my clothes. "Please, Daddy." I looked lovingly at my daughter and said, "Of course. Tomorrow, Daddy and Mommy will take you to preschool together. But now, you need to be a good girl and sleep." Little Sisi blinked her wide eyes. She looked at Mommy, then secretly glanced at her unusual daddy. She held out her little arms for Mommy to carry her to bed. I went back to the bedroom too. I stood at the window, looking out, thinking of my childhood friend and the documents he'd been sending me all month. I drifted into a daze. I didn't even notice when Gu Shuwan came over. "A-Qian, what are you thinking about?" "Nothing." "Is Sisi asleep?" Gu Shuwan was stunned for a moment. She hadn't expected me to care about Sisi. I told her a story. She just fell asleep. I yawned. Then I headed straight into the bedroom. Gu Shuwan followed close behind, as though I might disappear the next second. Yet once in bed, I couldn't fall asleep. Knowing Gu Shuwan was sleeping beside me, even with enough space between us for another person, things were no longer as they once were. Now that I knew the truth, Gu Shuwan had let me misunderstand her for all those years, without ever defending herself. Thinking of that, I shifted closer to Gu Shuwan. Gu Shuwan quickly slipped into my arms. She held me tightly, then hurriedly let go. A-Qian. What's wrong? I had never willingly moved close to her before. I retorted. Why can you secretly hold me after I fall asleep, but I can't hold you while I sleep? The moment I said it, I regretted it a little. Why couldn't I ever say anything right? Gu Shuwan hurriedly explained. Of course you can. A-Qian, you can hold me however you want. I'm sorry. I'm just so happy. Hearing that, I felt even worse. I was the one who had misunderstood her all along. Yet she was apologizing to me. Damn it. My arms tightened around Gu Shuwan. I muttered. I'm tired. Go to sleep. Good night. That night, one person slept soundly. The other stayed awake until dawn. I opened my eyes. A face filled my vision. She gazed at me with gentle eyes. When she saw me wake up, Gu Shuwan said softly, A-Qian, you're awake. Hungry? Let's go downstairs for breakfast. But I didn't respond to her. I looked at the alarm clock. It was already 8 o'clock. Sisi would already have left for school by now. Why didn't you wake me? I promised yesterday that I'd take Sisi to school. Thinking of my daughter's delighted expression last night, she must have been terribly disappointed this morning. I really was the worst. Gu Shuwan remembered how, at 6 that morning, Sisi had eagerly wanted her daddy to take her to school. She felt a little guilty. It had taken so much for A-Qian to let her sleep in his arms. Why wake A-Qian just to take that little brat to school and disturb his rest? So Gu Shuwan shamelessly said, Sisi, you're a grown-up now. You need to learn to be independent. You can't always rely on your parents, especially your father. 4-year-old Sisi looked completely confused. She had barely spent any time with her daddy. Now that daddy finally wanted to spend time with her, mommy was trying to keep him all to herself again. Although she wasn't happy, she obediently followed the driver. Gu Shuwan handed me a cup of warm water. Sisi thought you were too tired, so she went to school by herself. She was already happy that you came home, and so am I. I thought about how, because of my misunderstanding of Gu Shuwan all these years, I not only deliberately hurt her, but had never even looked properly at Sisi. But she had done nothing wrong. She was only 4 years old. After washing up, I hurried downstairs. The dining table was covered with dishes. Gu Shuwan had cooked herself. Everyone was a favorite of mine. Gu Shuwan sat there quietly. Sunlight streamed through the window. To her, waiting was a kind of happiness. Yet she feared she might not even have the right to wait for me to come home. I walked toward Gu Shuwan, step by step. What I didn't know was how many days and nights Gu Shuwan had sat there waiting for me, alongside meals that slowly went cold, and a heart that remained burning with love. Let's eat. As though nothing had happened, I picked up my bowl and chopsticks and began to eat. Gu Shuwan's lips curved into a smile. Her eyes lit up like stars. She didn't touch her chopsticks. Instead, she gazed greedily at the person before her. Gu Shuwan wished she could freeze time at that moment. Why are you staring at me? Eat. As I spoke, I picked up a soup dumpling and put it in her bowl. Gu Shuwan realized I was serving her food. She froze for a moment, then she slowly ate the dumpling. It seemed to remind her of some beautiful memory. She could barely contain the smile in her eyes. I pressed a hand to my forehead. If the Gu Corporation employees saw their CEO like this, their jaws would hit the floor. I quickly finished eating. Seeing that I was about to leave, Gu Shuwan hurriedly stood up. A-Qian, where are you going? I'll take you. I have something to do. The driver can take me. After a pause, I'll come have lunch with you at noon. Gu Shuwan hurriedly agreed. Then I'll wait for you at the office. I contacted my childhood friend Haixiu the night before. We had arranged to meet today. As for what had happened a month ago, I only knew the general outline. Now I had to uncover the whole truth. When I arrived at the cafe we'd agreed on, Haixiu was already sitting there waiting for me. Sit down and look at this first. Haixiu took some documents from his shoulder bag and pushed them toward me. For some reason, I suddenly felt like backing out. I was afraid that everything these past few years had been my fault. I was afraid that Gu Shuwan had known the truth all along and still loved me so deeply. As my friend of many years, Haixiu naturally knew what I wanted to say. A-Qian, what are you still hesitating over? We're not 17 or 18 anymore. Are you really going to keep lying to yourself? It's unfair to Gu Shuwan and unfair to Sisi. You can't use Gu Shuwan's love for you as an excuse to hurt her without restraint. I had no way to refute him. Facing those few thin sheets of paper, I lowered my eyes helplessly after reading them. I realized with absolute clarity that this wasn't Gu Shuwan's fault. It was all my fault. I'd been blind enough to invite a wolf into my home. The Shi family was a famous real estate powerhouse in a city. As the youngest son in the family, I had been spoiled from childhood. At 18, when I first discovered love, I fell for a girl. I pursued her openly for more than 6 months. At last, Shen Yu became my girlfriend. Shen Yu came from a single-parent family. She had been raised by her mother. She never mentioned her father to me. I assumed it was a sensitive subject and never asked. The year I met her, she was handing out flyers in front of a shopping mall. After I won Shen Yu's heart, I worried about her financial situation. So I begged my older sister to give Shen Yu a position at our company's headquarters. At first, I was afraid Shen Yu wouldn't accept. I hesitated for a long time before telling her. Shen Yu hugged me tightly. She only said she'd do her best. She truly needed a chance to prove herself. No one believed our relationship would last. Shen Yu really was capable. Little by little, everyone's opinion of her changed. Even my father sometimes praised her endlessly. He said she reminded him of himself when he was young. As my father grew older, he gradually began handing over control. Under the leadership of Shen Yu and my eldest sister, the company grew rapidly. Shen Yu, in particular, had a sharp business instinct. She was always the first to seize an opportunity and independently completed several major projects. But people's hearts can always change. Or perhaps it had all been wrong from the beginning. A month ago, Haixiu had already told me the truth plainly, but I simply refused to believe him. I knew Haixiu wouldn't lie to me. The evidence just hadn't been secured yet. I didn't want to believe it. So Haixiu produced the evidence and made me see it for myself. I calmly read through everything, but my fingertips trembled uncontrollably. Love had blinded me. Shuwan hadn't done anything wrong. All along, I'd taken advantage of her love and shamelessly blamed her for my mistakes. A-Qian, what are you planning to do now, after all these years? Don't you feel anything for Shuwan? Shuwan burst into my life 7 years ago, but she never dared take another step closer. Perhaps if that incident 5 years ago had never happened, Sisi would never have come into our lives. By now, I might have already thought of every possible way to divorce Shuwan. Shuwan was important to me, but it had nothing to do with romantic love. I treated Shuwan terribly. I wanted to treat her better from now on. And Sisi too. First, I wanted to learn how to be a good father. Seeing me like this, Haixiu knew Shuwan still had no chance. Alright, you finally came back. Let's not talk about this. She's just a woman, isn't she? The moment I heard that, I knew Haixiu had hit another wall with Xiyang. Haixiu had loved Xiyang for years. His heart belonged to her alone. Haixiu finally confessed his feelings, and Xiyang actually accepted. But they never made it public, making it feel like a secret relationship. That was precisely why Haixiu sympathized so deeply with Shuwan. Haixiu silently saw Shuwan as a wrong little wife. He looked at me as if I were a scumbag. He said viciously, "Not one of you men is any good." I was utterly speechless. "Aren't you a man too?" On the way back, I passed a shop. A white dress in the window caught my eye. I walked straight in and bought it. I thought Shuwan would look beautiful in it. I misunderstood her for so many years. I only wanted to treat her a little better. I glanced at my watch. It was almost noon. I hurriedly said goodbye to Haixiu and said I was going to have lunch with Shuwan. By the time I reached Group, it was nearly 12:30. As soon as I reached the first floor, I saw Assistant Shen pacing around the lobby. His eyes lit up when he saw me. He immediately strode over. "Sir, President Gu is waiting for you in her office." Assistant Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Let's go." A trace of amusement flickered in my eyes. Assistant Chen led me to the president's private elevator. This wasn't my first time here. My memories of my first visit weren't pleasant. In fact, they were downright terrible. I just married Shuwan back then. I hated Shuwan. I stubbornly believed she was behind what happened to Shen Yu. I constantly ordered Shuwan to stay away from Shen Yu. I'd even come to Group to argue with Shuwan and demand a divorce. The employees all knew I had a terrible temper. As soon as I appeared on the first floor, many people spotted me. Their faces looked as though they'd seen the Grim Reaper. They must have thought I'd come to argue with Shuwan. Before I could think any further, we reached the top floor. I gently pushed the door open and saw Shuwan sitting there with her brows slightly furrowed. She was lost in thought. Her fingers rubbed together absent-mindedly, and suddenly I felt that Shuwan was completely shrouded in disappointment and dejection. My heart tightened for no reason. I couldn't bear to see her like that. The instant Shuwan saw me, her eyes seemed filled with a galaxy of stars. She gazed at me with tender, unwavering attention. I never wanted to look into her eyes. I was afraid I'd drown in that galaxy. "What were you thinking about just now? You didn't even notice me coming. You don't think I lied to you, do you?" A-Qian, aye. Her little secret had been exposed. Shuwan could only lower her head dejectedly. My hands were itching to ruffle Shuwan's hair, but that gesture was completely inappropriate for our current relationship. "Oh, forget it. We could take it slowly." There was no need to rush. Meeting Shuwan delayed me a little. "I said I'd have lunch with you, so I will. If you keep this up, I'm going back." I only wanted to scare Shuwan a little. I pretended to leave. Unexpectedly, Shuwan suddenly grabbed me. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist. "A-Qian, don't go. You said you'd have lunch with me," Shuwan said in a wounded voice. "Let go of me. I'm not going anywhere. Here, open it." and see if you like it. This was the first time I'd ever given Gu Shuwan a gift. Gu Shuwan was completely stunned. She hadn't expected it to be for her. Gu Shuwan reached out and took the bag. A faint smile appeared in her eyes. When she opened it, she found a white dress inside. Thank you, A-Qian. I love it. She pulled me toward the lounge. Just as I began to wonder what she was doing, I saw Gu Shuwan slip out of her clothes. Beauty can be dangerously distracting. I suspected Gu Shuwan was trying to seduce me. What are you doing? We're in your office. I heard a soft laugh. What are you thinking? A-Qian, I just wanted to put it on and show you. A-Qian, help me tie the strings in the back. I cursed myself inwardly for being so pathetic. I don't know how to do that. Do it yourself. But I sounded less confident saying it. Actually, I did know how. Back when I was with Shen, I took care of everything in her daily life. I learned whatever I hadn't known before. Seeing the smile fade from Gu Shuwan's eyes. On impulse, I said, but I'll give it a try. Gu Shuwan's smile instantly grew brighter. She gently swept her hair over one shoulder. I felt I'd fallen into her trap again. I skillfully tied a bow. My practice technique made me awkwardly rub my nose. But Gu Shuwan didn't say a word. She touched the bow tied at her back. As if lost in thought, Gu Shuwan carefully took my hand, afraid I might shake it off and discuss the next second. Have you decided what you want to eat? Fortunately, I didn't pull away. Instead, I held her hand back. I tilted my head and looked at her with a mischievous smile. Let's eat in your company's cafeteria. Gu Shuwan slightly furrowed her delicate brows. The cafeteria food was fairly good, but A-Qian had been spoiled with luxury since childhood. His meals were always carefully prepared or cooked by himself. After thinking it over, she said, all right, we'll do as you say. After leaving the office, the young secretary saw the president and her husband walking out of the office hand in hand. She could hardly believe her eyes. Good heavens! Was the world about to turn upside down? She immediately took out her phone to share the breaking news. Breaking news. The latest gossip about President Gu and her husband is still hot. Someone replied, tell us already. You absolutely won't believe this. President Gu and her husband just left the office hand in hand. They must be going to eat. No way. Is that for real? President Gu's husband came in today and didn't throw anything. He even held hands with President Gu. The person above needs to look more carefully. I know. Assistant Shen waited in the lobby for ages today. President Gu must have sent him to pick up her husband. President Gu's husband is so handsome. Gu Shuwan had no idea her employees were already buzzing with gossip. She was holding my hand as we chose our food in the cafeteria. Seeing me hesitate between spicy diced chicken and broccoli, Gu Shuwan waved her hand and ordered both. She also added several dishes I liked, and a nourishing soup. I looked at the food on my tray. It was all food I loved, but none of it suited Gu Shuwan's taste. Seeing me still standing blankly at the counter, she asked, is there anything else you want? She remembered that everything A-Qian loved was already on the tray. I called out, ma'am, one more serving of soup dumplings, please. Gu Shuwan froze for a moment. She seemed a little at a loss, but her eyes were filled with happiness. I asked, puzzled, I thought you really like soup dumplings. Don't you like them? You look so happy when I gave you one this morning. I do. I really do. Gu Shuwan looked at me as she said it. There was something in her eyes I couldn't understand. While we ate, since we were in the employee cafeteria, most of the employees whispered among themselves. They murmured quietly about something. Gu Shuwan grew impatient. She shot them a sharp look. The faint chatter instantly died, leaving the entire cafeteria silent. I wasn't very hungry to begin with. A little food was enough to fill me. Without hesitation, I moved the food I had left toward Gu Shuwan. Gu Shuwan took over naturally and ate the food I had left. I watched Gu Shuwan eat with elegant, aristocratic poise. Even when she ate a meatball, she made it feel like a 5-star meal. I smiled inwardly. Meanwhile, the other employees in the cafeteria had completely forgotten about eating. They all pulled out their phones to share the gossip. Oh my god. Did you see that? President Gu's eyes are so gentle when she looks at her husband. That's nothing. President Gu has always looked at him that way. Didn't you see President Gu eating her husband's leftovers? So naturally, after they finished eating, Gu Shuwan asked, what are you planning to do this afternoon? I thought for a moment, then smiled. I don't know. How about I keep you company all afternoon? I looked at Gu Shuwan sincerely, but Gu Shuwan merely tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She stared at my small earlobe and murmured softly, what do you want this time? I lowered my head. Sure enough, I had been too eager. I just wanted to treat her a little better. I was simply tired and wanted to rest, then pick Sisi up from school. Was that so wrong? Sure enough, as soon as she heard I was tired, Gu Shuwan stopped thinking about anything else. Why don't you sleep for a while in my lounge? Gu Shuwan again asked Assistant Shen to bring my favorite snacks and some juice. I sat on the bed in the lounge, eating snacks while reading a novel. Gu Shuwan showed no intention of going back to work. With no other choice, I had to speak up. Why do you keep sitting here watching me? Don't you have work to deal with? Do chief executives really have this much free time? Helplessly, Gu Shuwan had no choice but to go back to work. Before leaving, Gu Shuwan didn't close the door. That way, she could see me whenever she looked up from her desk. I was completely absorbed in my novel and didn't notice. In less than 20 minutes, I slowly fell asleep. Gu Shuwan quietly walked over to the bed and pulled the blanket over me, looking at me in peaceful sleep. Gu Shuwan bent down and kissed my forehead. Then she left to handle her paperwork. When I woke up, the curtains were drawn and not a trace of light entered the room. I checked my phone. It was 4 in the afternoon. Remembering that I had to pick Sisi up from school, I got out of bed. When Gu Shuwan saw that I was awake, she crossed the room in a few quick steps. "You're awake, sleep a little longer." I smiled. "It's already 4. I still have to pick Sisi up from school. If I hadn't woken up, were you planning not to wake me again?" Gu Shuwan lowered her head and fell silent. She looked deeply aggrieved. Most of my anger faded, and my tone softened. "Why are you looking at me? Go take care of your work. I'll stay here by myself for a while. We'll leave at 4:30 to pick up Sisi." Gu Shuwan pouted and said, "I just want to stay by your side. Can I? I've already finished my paperwork. Let me keep you company, all right." I gave her a puzzled look and said, "If you want to stay, then stay." After that, I paid Gu Shuwan no further attention. I held a large bag of spicy potato chips in one hand and began eating. In my other hand, I held my phone and watched the works of students from A University's School of Music. Gu Shuwan watched me. Although our relationship was no longer as tense as it had been during the first few years, she thought that perhaps, with time, A-Qian had gradually accepted her, or perhaps he had merely accepted the situation. But Gu Shuwan loved me and understood better than anyone what loving someone should look like. She knew very well that her A-Qian still didn't love her. I had no time to concern myself with Gu Shuwan's thoughts. As soon as the performance ended, I rushed back to China. Although Qin Fei handled the concert's follow-up matters, there were still things I had to take care of myself. On top of that, a university school of music sent an invitation to my studio, hoping I would become a mentor there. I was considering it, though I was still young. My musical accomplishments rivaled those of many musicians over 50. For the past few years, to escape Gu Shuwan, I had performed all over the world. Although Gu Shuwan said I had to be home 5 days a month, I had never followed that rule. I always did as I pleased, going home for a while only when I felt like it. Gu Shuwan never said a word about it. Every time I returned, she was simply waiting at home. Perhaps Gu Shuwan's indulgence over the years had gradually calmed me down, or perhaps all that traveling had left me exhausted. I wanted to settle down and spend time with Sisi and Gu Shuwan. Thinking of that, I felt A University's invitation had come at the perfect time. It gave me a proper reason to stay. That way, Gu Shuwan wouldn't anxiously suspect that I was only pretending before leaving again. Feigning nonchalance, I tilted my head, and since Gu Shuwan was sitting beside me, my head landed right on her shoulder. It was exactly what I wanted. Contentedly, I rubbed my cheek against Gu Shuwan's shoulder and continued watching the video. Gu Shuwan's heart was sweet as honey. Forget it. So, what if he doesn't love me? It's enough that I love A-Qian. This was the scene Gu Shuwan had always dreamed of. After a satisfying afternoon nap, sunlight streamed through the window. I sat beside her, resting my head on her shoulder. She did nothing, only watched me, but the moment was too brief. Before she could enjoy it, a sudden alarm interrupted us. Gu Shuwan was utterly exasperated. She stared at me expressionlessly. I promptly turned off the alarm and glared at Gu Shuwan in annoyance. What if I hadn't set an alarm? What if I overslept? Gu Shuwan stood up helplessly and took my hand as we left the office. "Come on. Let's pick up that little third wheel." The young secretary outside the office saw Shuwan and me come out and immediately sat up straight. Still, she kept sneaking glances from the corner of her eye. When she saw their clasped hands, she inwardly thought, "Well, would you look at that? Well, the boss's husband didn't throw a tantrum this time." And sure enough, whenever the boss's husband came back, President Gu left work much earlier every day. At the kindergarten, Gu Sisi sat at her desk, staring at the teacher. She looked very attentive, but her mind was a million miles away. Gu Sisi could not help sighing. Dad had come home yesterday. He celebrated her birthday with her, and even bought her a present. But Dad had promised to take her to school, and he had broken his promise again. During recess, many children gave Gu Sisi birthday gifts. Gu Sisi had always been well-liked in class. She was pretty. So many children wanted to be her friend, but some were jealous of her. Jiang had never liked how all the boys in class flocked around Gu Sisi. She thought Gu Sisi looked like a boy and lacked the kind of delicate charm a little girl should have. When Jiang saw the boy she liked wish Gu Sisi a happy birthday, she got furious. She walked over to Gu Sisi's desk. "Happy birthday, Gu Sisi. But Are you really happy? Did your dad come back to celebrate with you? When it's our birthdays, our parents take the day off and take me to the amusement park. Has your dad ever taken you? Sisi instinctively wanted to argue, but she had no grounds to, though she wanted to believe. Dad had rushed back especially for her birthday. The truth was, he had never done that before. They had never gone to an amusement park together either. When Jian saw Sisi remain silent, she knew she had been right, so she pressed on. Your dad doesn't love you. Your dad doesn't want you. Sisi shoved Jian to the ground and started fighting without a second thought. Jian was so stunned that she did not know how to react. She did not understand why Sisi had reacted so fiercely. Before this, she had always stayed silent. The children around them could not stand by any longer. They hurriedly pulled the two girls apart, while someone ran to tell the teacher. 10 minutes before school ended, Sisi stood silently in the office. The teacher turned to them and said, "I've contacted your parents. Whatever happened, you can talk it out, but you must never hit each other. Sisi, you were wrong to do this." On the way, Shuwan received a call from Sisi's teacher. She frowned and said, "All right, I understand. We'll be there right away." I was playing on my phone beside her when I glanced at Shuwan and asked, "What's wrong?" Sisi's teacher said, "Sisi got into a fight with a classmate at school. She wants us to come over." I stopped what I was doing and frowned. A fight? Shuwan immediately assumed the other child had started it. It must have been the other child who started it. "We should trust Sisi. While you were away, I taught her properly." Shuwan was afraid. I had disliked her before. And like Sisi, the child born after that accident, even less. She feared I would not believe Sisi, that I would dislike Sisi even more, or blame her for not raising Sisi well. I gave a soft laugh. Shuwan, Sisi is my daughter. Of course I trust her. Looking at Shuwan's profile, I paused. I also believe you've raised Sisi well. After we parted, Shuwan said nothing. She only gripped my hand more tightly. I quietly complained to myself. This woman was clearly deeply moved, yet looked so cold on the surface. When Sisi saw me arrive, she visibly panicked. Dad must know she had gotten into a fight. Dad did not like her to begin with. Now he would surely like her even less. I released Shuwan's hand and walked straight to Sisi. After learning what happened from the teacher, I bent down, looked at Jinan's bruised, swollen face, and said, "I'm Sisi's dad. What's your name, sweetheart?" Jinan stared blankly at the handsome man before her. "My name is Jinan." I smiled and said, "Jinan, Sisi was wrong to hit you first. I'll apologize to you for her first. But don't you think you were wrong too? Shouldn't you apologize to Sisi as well?" Although Jinan's parents had not arrived yet, Jinan had clearly been reprimanded by her teacher and recognized her own mistake. She slowly walked over to Sisi. "I'm sorry, Sisi. I should not have said those things to you. I apologize. I hope you have a happy birthday." I looked at Sisi, somewhat reluctantly. Sisi said, "I should not have hit you either." Then she turned her head away with a huff. Just as the matter was settled, Jinan's parents arrived. After learning what had happened, they understood their daughter was at fault too, and apologized to Sisi. Jinan's parents were also prominent figures in business. Though they could not compare with the Gu and Shi families, they were still quite well established. After Jinan's parents apologized, they hurried away with Jinan. Before leaving, Jinan shyly looked at Sisi and said, "Sisi, your dad is really handsome." After saying that, she would not look at Sisi again, and left with her parents. Only after hearing Jinan praise her father did Sisi smile. But then she remembered that I had come to handle her fight. Dad never picked her up from school. He must have come this time only because she got into a fight. Would he dislike her even more now? I said nothing. After saying goodbye to the teacher, I held Shuwan's hand with one hand, and Sisi's with the other as we left the office. School had just ended. The children gradually filed out of their classrooms. Many of them saw Sisi's family. "Oh my gosh. Is that Sisi's dad beside her? He's so handsome. I always said Sisi has the prettiest eyes. She got them from her dad. They make such a lovely family." Hearing the whispers around her, Sisi was overjoyed. She whispered, "Dad, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit her." I looked at Sisi and asked, "What did she say? That made you hit her?" I did not know why Sisi had hit her. Neither did the teacher. Sisi would not tell us when we asked. We only knew Jinan had said something cruel. Sisi lowered her head and whispered, "She said Dad doesn't love me. She said you don't want me. You've never taken me to school or picked me up. And you've never taken me to an amusement park." Shuwan and I both froze. Neither of us expected that to be the reason. It was as if I had lost the ability to speak. I did not know how to defend myself, because every word she said was true. Shuwan was the one who crouched down. She stroked Sisi's head and said, "Dad doesn't dislike you. He's just busy with work. Look, when Dad came back this time, he came to pick you up from school. And he celebrated your birthday with you yesterday, didn't he? Though Sisi was still young, she understood more than adults gave her credit for. You always say that. Just how busy is Dad? Her voice trembled with tears as she spoke. Why is my dad the only one who's so busy? Other kids' dads can take them out to play. Listening to her, I finally understood. I had thought Sisi was too young to understand anything, but her heart was far more sensitive than I knew. Not being by her side had hurt her so deeply. Gu Shuwan frowned. Clearly, she did not like hearing Sisi say that. Sisi had torn apart her self-deception. Gu Sisi, do you think you're right just because you started a fight? Gu Sisi was frightened by Gu Shuwan's tone. She did not dare say another word. Her eyes were simply red with tears. I had already had enough. Why are you two arguing? Gu Shuwan, why are you being so harsh with her? She's my daughter. I picked Sisi up, wiping away her tears. It's alright, Sisi. This is Dad's fault. Do you want to go to an amusement park? Dad will take you there this weekend. How does that sound? Really? Does that mean you'll be home all week too? You won't be traveling for work. Gu Shuwan looked at me too. A-Qian was always away performing. Even when he returned, he would leave again within 3 days. How long would he stay this time? That's right. Dad will be home for a while, so I can pick you up from school every day. Sisi happily wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered, Dad, put me down. I'm really heavy. Sisi was not chubby, but she was still a 4-year-old child. Holding her was still a little tiring, so I put her down. Once we got home, Sisi was especially excited. She kept begging me to play with her toys. Gu Shuwan watched me hopefully too. I steeled myself and said, Gu Shuwan, I want to eat your cooking. Will you make me something? I'm hungry. Gu Shuwan gave me a resentful look and could only say, all right. Before leaving, she gave Gu Sisi a pointed look. Gu Sisi shrank back and led me upstairs. She had a large playroom, which Gu Shuwan had decorated herself. It was filled with all kinds of toys, as well as Gu Sisi's bedroom. The desks and chairs, along with every other item, were chosen for maximum safety and protection. I stayed with Sisi while she finished her homework, then played with building blocks with her for a while. By then, Gu Shuwan had finished cooking. Seeing that every dish on the table had chili in it, my eyes lit up. Beside it was a glass of room temperature lemon water. When she saw my satisfied expression, Gu Shuwan's heart trembled. Those nights when she waited for me in vain were suddenly lit by starlight. After dinner, Gu Shuwan wanted to follow me back to our room. Then she suddenly paused, pretending she knew nothing. She kept walking. Gu Sisi immediately shouted, Dad, will you tell me a story? Then she added pitifully, other kids have dads who tell them stories. I could never resist that little one's pitiful expression. It melted my heart completely. I was about to agree, but Gu Shuwan beat me to it. A-Qian, go take a shower first. I'll tell her a story. Come on, little Sisi. Mommy will tell you a story. Sisi ignored Gu Shuwan's slightly darkened expression. She only looked at me, her eyes sparkling, and asked hopefully, then, Dad, do you still mean what you said after school? For a moment, I did not know what little Sisi meant. My mind did not catch up right away. When I saw the stars in Sisi's eyes dim, I understood at once. She meant our trip to the amusement park this weekend. I mean it. I'll take you to the amusement park. The tension between Gu Shuwan's brows eased. She had thought I only said it that afternoon to stop Sisi from crying. A casual promise to soothe her. She had not expected me to truly be willing to go. Would A-Qian really go? After I showered, I saw that Gu Shuwan had already finished hers. She was dressed and sitting on the bed, lost in thought. I walked over and casually asked, what story did you tell her? Gu Shuwan hugged me, buried her face in my neck, and muttered, Little Red Riding Hood. And I reminded her that she cannot cling to Dad after 7 at night. The evenings are all mine. But what I said next caught Gu Shuwan completely off guard. Do you like spicy food? Gu Shuwan froze. 2 seconds later, she said, I do. I like anything you like. What's the point? You can't eat spicy food at all. You ate it for me until you develop severe stomach problems. Are you stupid? By the end, my eyes had already turned red. If I had not gone to the living room for water before showering and caught my foot on a drawer left partly open, seeing all those bottles and jars inside, filling the entire drawer, I never would have known Gu Shuwan could not eat spicy food at all. Seeing the tears gathering in my eyes, Gu Shuwan wiped away the tears at the corners of my eyes. It's alright, A-Qian. Compared to your dislike, what do these things matter? I was overwhelmed with guilt. I only wanted to treat Gu Shuwan better, but it was nothing compared to all she had done. I said through tears, could you treat yourself better? Those words struck Gu Shuwan deeply. Our bodies entwined. She kissed the corner of my eye. Unable to hold back, she kissed my lips again. After everything that happened tonight, my lips were already slightly red and swollen. I held her tightly in my arms. I did not know how much time passed. Gradually, we both fell asleep. When I woke, it was nearly noon. My body was a little sore, but it was not too uncomfortable. Gu Shuwan must have massaged me last night. I walked into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My hair was a mess, and my sleepy eyes were still unfocused. Gu Shuwan was not in the room. I assumed she had gone to the office. Sisi had gone to school too. After washing up, I went downstairs, planning to ask Aunt Chen to make lunch. Then I saw a busy figure in the kitchen. Shuwan was skillfully chopping vegetables. Her hands were beautiful. I entered the kitchen and asked, "What are you doing here? Didn't you go to the office?" Shuwan turned when she saw me. Her hands were wet, so she did not hug me. Her lips curved faintly. "Does your body still hurt?" Without changing my expression, I replied. "It doesn't hurt," but I did not realize my bright red ears had already given me away. Still pretending to be calm, I said, "I'm hungry. How much longer until it's ready?" Shuwan took out a small porcelain bowl and ladled a bowl of millet porridge from a small pot nearby. She handed it to me. "You didn't eat breakfast. Have some of this to tide you over." I took it and shot Shuwan a glare. "Why do you think I skipped breakfast? You should know better than anyone." Holding the small bowl, I drank the porridge sip by sip. After the sips, I could not drink anymore. I didn't like sweet, cloying, flavorless things like this. Even though Shuwan had made it delicious, it simply was not to my taste. Shuwan knew my quirks, so she did not force me. I did not leave the kitchen. I leaned against the doorframe and watched Shuwan cook. Suddenly, I felt something inside me filling up bit by bit. Perhaps after years of running around out there, I had begun to miss the feeling of home. After choosing my words carefully, I said, "Shuwan, I'm planning to focus my career in China from now on, starting on the 17th. I'll also serve as an instructor at 8 University's Conservatory of Music. I'll travel for work less often." Shuwan's hand paused as she chopped. Then she moved, turning her back to me. Her voice trembled uncontrollably. "Why? Is it because she's about to get out? Are you preparing for the two of you to leave?" I did not notice anything strange about Shuwan. "It's nothing. These years of performing have worn me out. Sisi is growing up too. I want to spend more time with her. After all, she is my daughter too, isn't she?" Shuwan let out a soft breath and slowly turned to face me. "Sisi was only provoked by her classmates. She usually isn't this thoughtless. I'll teach her properly. You don't need to give up your—" Before she could finish, I cut her off angrily. "Shuwan, Sisi is only 4. A father's presence is essential. I've already told you. I trust that you'll raise Sisi well. I don't want Sisi to become a cold, emotionless child." Seeing Shuwan's expression after I snapped at her, so hurt and aggrieved, I softened my tone. "Didn't I tell you last night? Treat yourself better. If you have any requests, tell me. I'll agree to them." Did Shuwan have any requests? Her only wish was for me to slowly fall in love with her, but I could not do that. Shuwan spoke rapidly. "First, be home before 10 every night. Second, no drinking. Third, stay home whenever you can." I looked at her teasingly and asked, "Anything else?" Shuwan looked aggrieved again. She darted a glance at me, then quickly looked away and whispered, "You can't spend more time with Sisi than with me." Her voice was very soft, but I still caught it. Amusement flickered in my eyes. "Fine. I agree to everything you said. It's no big deal." Shuwan held me tightly. Her closed eyes hid her emotions. She had guessed right. A Jin was all tough talk and a soft heart. Though a Jin did not like Sisi, he would fulfill a father's responsibilities. I could not bear it any longer. After lunch with Shuwan, I practically chased Shuwan off to the office. After my afternoon nap, I had nothing to do, so I went to my studio. I loved music, and my musical talent had been obvious since childhood. When I was very young, my mentor and his wife hired renowned international teachers to train me. When I turned 18, after my piece, Dang Yun, Xiyang gave me the studio he had long prepared for me as a birthday gift. Its location, size, staff, and decor all suited my style perfectly. After making a round of the studio, I saw A-Qian approach and say, "Jin, Brother Qin is looking for you." After saying that, he looked at me, his face reddening, then added, "Jin, make sure you get plenty of rest these next few days." I was completely confused. I assumed A-Qian had somehow read another one of those ridiculous novels. A-Qian had recommended one to me before, something called The CEO's Delicate Little Wife, a mindless story like that. I fell asleep before I finished the chapters. As he watched me leave, A-Qian thought, CEO Gu really was CEO Gu. She was so intense. But when I reached Qin Fei's office, Qin Fei said something equally strange. "Looks like things got pretty intense. No wonder you weren't replying to my messages." Confused, I asked, "What nonsense are you talking about? What's going on with you and A-Qian?" Qin Fei clicked his tongue twice. He took a mirror from a drawer and held it up to my neck. Though my collar hid most of them, quite a few were still visible. Anyone could tell how intense it had been. I was annoyed with myself, but I kept a straight face as I pushed Qin Fei's hand aside. "Get to the point. Why were you looking for me?" Qin Fei grumbled. "What? You dump all the work on me while you go enjoy yourself, and you still have the nerve to act righteous." Guiltily, I rubbed my nose and said, "Come on, what are brothers for, if not to come through when it counts?" Qin Fei and I had been college classmates. Unlike Haixiu and me, Qin Fei came from a poor, remote county town. After Qin Fei finished high school, his family did not plan to let him attend college. Qin Fei refused. He chose to run away from home and came to a city. He worked while studying and put himself through college. He had strong pride. His ambition matched his professional ability, yet he always knew how to conduct himself with tact. The reason our paths crossed was that I once helped Qin Fei out. After Shuwan and I had a fight, Haixiu and I went drinking in a bar. We saw a wealthy middle-aged woman forcing herself on a waiter. Such things were common in places like that. No one paid it any attention, because no one dared offend that rich woman. I saw her hand, grabbing at the waiter, trying to drag him into a private room. But the waiter's eyes were filled with defiance. Seeing that defiance made me think of myself. I was not as miserable as that waiter, but I still felt deeply wronged. The person I loved had been framed and sent to prison. My company was in crisis, and I had no choice but to marry Shuwan. So I stepped in and helped that waiter. That work-study waiter was Qin Fei. Later, Haixiu and I introduced Qin Fei to many easy, high-paying jobs. The three of us gradually became friends and eventually became inseparable. Qin Fei frowned and asked, "Are you sure?" I looked at the desk before me, at the succulent that had suddenly appeared there. It was lush yet delicate. I quietly answered, "I am sure." There was nothing wrong with Qin Fei, except he never held back when exposing people's sore spots. He smiled and said, "You knew it all along. You just refused to face the truth until it hit you, didn't you?" His words left me speechless. I did not want to humor him, but Qin Fei kept going without mercy. "Use your brain for once. You had a beautiful, wealthy CEO wife right there, yet you chased some bullshit love. Now you see reality, right?" I could not help retorting, "I get it. Will you please shut up? Stop talking already. I'll treat Shuwan well. I'll do my best to meet all her requests. Happy now." Then I added, "And you have the nerve to judge me?" I was only heartless toward Shuwan. "When have you not slept with someone, then acted like she meant nothing? How many decent women have you used and discarded these past few years?" Qin Fei was caught off guard by my retort. Just as he was about to fire back, I did not want to keep arguing with him. Glancing at the desk, I casually said, "Since when do you keep succulents on your desk? A cactus suits you better." To my surprise, Qin Fei stopped attacking me. He raised a brow at my remark. "Succulents are adorable." One look at his expression told me it was not that simple. So I pressed on. "Which woman gave it to you? You actually care this much this time. You even put it on your desk. Why not wear it on your head?" Then something else occurred to me. I wonder how capable this woman is. Whether she can finally tame you. Qin Fei fiddled with the little succulent. "Tame me? The woman who can do that has not been born yet." I gave Qin Fei a sly smile. "Not necessarily. I think you will not escape this time." As Qin Fei and I joked around, a WeChat message from Shuwan arrived. "A-Qian, what are you doing?" I replied, "At the studio." Shuwan immediately sent another message. "Are you coming home for dinner tonight? When will you be done? I'll pick you up." I pushed Qin Fei's nosy head away and continued typing. "No need. I'll drive home myself later." Without checking what Shuwan sent next, I put away my phone and told Qin Fei, "See, she's checking up on me. I'm leaving first." Qin Fei stopped me and said, "Not so fast. I've never seen you this attentive before." "What? Are you trying to make it up to CEO Gu?" I sighed, feeling troubled. I do not know what to do either. I was an idiot before. Now I do not know what I should do. So I just want to treat her better. Qin Fei could not stand seeing me blame myself. He frowned. "Do not feel too guilty. You did not do anything terribly cruel to CEO Gu. Besides, you two have sweet little Sisi. CEO Gu has been very good to you, but she did it willingly. Not every sacrifice is repaid, especially when it comes to love. But if that love is too heavy, if it becomes a burden to you, do not force it." I knew Qin Fei meant well, but I still could not help defending Shuwan. Want to bet I'll record all this and let Shuwan see how her trusted employee is betraying her. Though Qin Fei was my manager, his salary did come from the Gu group. After we graduated from college, I happened to be preparing my comeback. Shuwan hired Qin Fei as my manager, hoping it would make me happier. Qin Fei quickly begged for mercy. He waved me away, telling me to leave already. But as I opened the door to leave, he casually added, "Jiang is stirring up trouble again. Paparazzi secretly took photos of you at the airport. Jiang returned a few days ago wearing the same outfit as you. It started trending online, but it was taken down right away." CEO Gu acted fast enough. With my back to Qin Fei, I said disdainfully, "He's just a clown. If he wants to humiliate himself, I will not stop him." Jiang had been a rising star in music these past 2 years. Like me, he specialized in violin. His musical achievements did not measure up to mine, but he had some talent. His handsome looks had also won him many fans. On the way home, I thought it over. Qin Fei was right, but also wrong. Love cannot be forced. But I had misunderstood someone for so many years. I should feel guilty. I sighed unconsciously. Besides, Shuwan was very good to me. Her patience with me was endless, as was her tolerance. When I got home, Gu Shuwan had already made dinner. Even though I did not usually eat dinner, Gu Shuwan had still prepared a lavish meal. I glanced at the dishes on the table and noticed 2 of them had no chili peppers. They were still dishes I liked, just without the spice. Honestly, this woman. Still, this was fine. I ate very little at night. After a little porridge, I could not eat another bite. So I sat at the table and watched Sisi and Gu Shuwan eat. Mother and daughter looked very alike. Only Sisi's eyes resembled mine. We both had soft, almond-shaped eyes full of affection. Just imagine how beautiful she'd be when she grows up. I watched Gu Shuwan eat with unhurried grace. Her hands were elegantly defined, fair and strong. Like green bamboo, they softened her air of distance, making her seem gentle instead. I had always known Gu Shuwan was beautiful, but now, the longer I looked, the more beautiful she became. I knew that though Gu Shuwan was gentle and patient with me, she was no mild-mannered lady. The rumors outside were not baseless. She was sensitive and obsessive by nature. If she found out, I only began treating her well after learning the truth. Who knew how far she might lose control? I lowered my eyes, hiding my emotions. Without a word, I picked up a piece of pork tenderloin and placed it in Gu Shuwan's bowl. Gu Shuwan paused slightly. Then she began to eat. The way she ate it was as though she were savoring a grand feast. Sisi saw it. She blinked her eyes and pushed her bowl forward, showing she wanted some too. With a soft laugh, I picked up a cola-braised chicken wing and placed it in little Sisi's bowl. Little Sisi happily continued eating. After dinner, I went to the bedroom. Though I said every day that I would be a good husband and father, I was used to living freely and carelessly. I could not adjust to that role overnight. Gu Shuwan and Gu Sisi did not ask anything of me either. Every night, bathing Sisi and reading her stories were handled in turns by Gu Shuwan and the housekeeper. So in the days since I returned, I had not put little Sisi to bed even once, nor had I truly bonded with her. I was chatting with Qin Fei and Haixiu on WeChat in our 3-person group, all hoping I would come to my senses. They were arguing enthusiastically. Tomorrow is the weekend. I am taking Sisi to the amusement park. What rides are good for father-daughter bonding? Haixiu replied. A-Qian, you are taking Sisi to the amusement park. Not bad. Is CEO Gu going too? I replied. Damn, I forgot to ask her. But she will probably come. After all, if it is just Sisi and me, it will be pretty awkward. Qin Fei quickly chimed in. It is so late. Do none of you have a nightlife? Being home is so boring. Looking at my phone, I continued. Oh, whose arms are you tangled up in this time? Careful you do not overindulge. TSK. I still cannot compare to someone else. Those marks have not faded yet, have they? Haixiu looked utterly confused. What? Tell me. Quick. How do I not know about this? Wow. Gu Shuwan is fierce. She really is my brother's woman. Thinking of that night, my face reddened. I turned off my phone and pretended to sleep. Then I saw Gu Shuwan standing by the door. I did not know how long she had been watching. I cleared my throat twice. What are you standing there for? Come here. Gu Shuwan came over. Unable to resist, she kissed my forehead again. My eyes darted around as I casually said, I promised to take Sisi to the amusement park this weekend. Are you coming? Gu Shuwan climbed into bed from the other side and held me. Her arms slowly tightened around me. Do you want me to come? Of course I wanted Gu Shuwan to come. I had no experience taking care of a child. Though Sisi was very well behaved, I still could not manage alone. I looked at Gu Shuwan with complete sincerity. I do. Gu Shuwan's lips curved up. All right, then I will come. She had never planned to let Sisi and me go alone. She wanted to go to the amusement park with me, the place where we first met. That weekend, the weather was a little hot. I wore a white t-shirt, which made me look youthful and vibrant. I had prepared matching clothes for Gu Shuwan and Sisi. They were family outfits I had bought specially for this outing. Gu Shuwan wore a white t-shirt. It softened her stern, aloof professional image. It gave her a girlish charm, making her look like a college student. Secretly, I marveled at how favored she was by nature. She was nearly 30, yet a change of clothes made her look like a young heartthrob. Sisi looked at her matching outfit and could barely contain her delight. Happily, she looked at Dad, then at Mom, bobbing her little head. I looked at little Sisi with mock disgust. Is this really Gu Shuwan's and my daughter? Why does she look like a sickly little fool from a rich household? Then I looked at Gu Shuwan. Her smile had not left her face since she woke up. I truly could not understand what was with these two. Why were they so happy about visiting an amusement park? I urged them. Quit preening. Come on, let's go. I turned and strode away on my long legs. Gu Shuwan immediately caught up in long strides, taking my hand. Our fingers interlocked. The moment little Sisi saw that, it looked like Mom and Dad were going to abandon her and have fun alone. Her little legs hurried after them. Mommy, Daddy, wait for Sisi. Gu Shuwan promptly took little Sisi's hand. She exchanged a glance with Sisi. Only the two of them understood what passed between their eyes. Did you remember what I told you yesterday? Gu Sisi answered with a look. Do not worry, Mommy. I will complete the mission. We arrived at the biggest amusement park in the city. That morning, we tried some simple rides first, because a child Sisi's age could not go on many of the rides. No matter how pitifully little Sisi looked at me, I did not budge. Looking at me like that will not help. It is not that I will not let you ride. You are just too little to ride. If you want to ride it, that is fine. Then just keep wanting to. Haha. After being mocked by me, little Sisi turned and ran into her mother's arms. Boo-hoo. Daddy is bullying me. He even laughed at me. I am not playing with him anymore. Boo-hoo. Xiyang stroked little Sisi's head, but her eyes were on me. With laughter in her eyes, she said, Daddy is right. Only then did I realize that I felt a little embarrassed. My ears reddened slightly. I had come to spend time with my daughter. In the end, we only went on rides I liked. I rubbed little Sisi's head and said awkwardly, this afternoon, I will take you on rides you like, okay? We will ride go-karts this afternoon. Kids love those most. Little Sisi blinked her tearful eyes and mercilessly exposed me. That is obviously what you like. I raised a brow, looking at little Sisi in surprise. How did you know I like that? Little Sisi glanced at Shuwan and whispered, Mommy told me. I glanced at Shuwan. Without saying anything, I took little Sisi's hand with one hand and Shuwan's with the other, leading them toward the restaurant. Come on, I will get you something delicious. You cannot possibly dislike fried chicken, right? Little Sisi looked at her mother. She could not read anything from her expression, but she had never eaten fried chicken before. When we reached the restaurant I had booked, I expertly ordered a large serving of fried chicken and cola. Shuwan's eyes showed some disapproval, but she said nothing. She merely added a few appetizing dishes and lemon water. This was little Sisi's first time eating fried chicken. Her little eyes fixed on the golden food, glittering with excitement. Seeing how happily I ate, little Sisi eagerly began eating too. One look at her blissful little expression, and I knew it. Fried chicken and cola really were irresistible to everyone, except Shuwan. Shuwan had wanted to tell A-Qian to eat less, but seeing one big and one little person eating so happily, she silently held her tongue. Forget it. A-Qian had only just agreed to spend time with Sisi. How could she make him unhappy? What Shuwan did not expect was that after finishing that serving, I did not order more. I even obediently drank the lemon water and told Sisi to eat less too. As little Sisi reached for the fried chicken again with her tiny paw, I swiftly snatched the box toward me. Little Sisi watched the fried chicken move out of reach and looked at me in confusion. I smiled faintly. It really is delicious, but it really is unhealthy too. Children should eat even less of it. Tonight, let mommy make you something delicious. Isn't mommy's cooking better than fried chicken? Little Sisi could only agree reluctantly. She resentfully watched the last piece of fried chicken disappear into my mouth. Daddy clearly just wanted it for himself. Why does my daddy trick his own daughter every day? Even worse, mommy is his accomplice. She watched mommy hold a handkerchief and gently wipe daddy's hands. Slowly, one finger at a time. I am clearly the youngest one. Shouldn't I be the one getting taken care of? Feeling utterly wronged, little Sisi grabbed a napkin and wiped her own mouth and hands. That meal put me in a wonderful mood. After we ate, I told Shuwan and Sisi to wait there for me. I went to the restroom. When I came back out, a man was standing at their table. He had a good figure, judging by his back. Anyone unaware might have thought they were a family of three. I walked over. As I came round the corner, Shuwan saw me. Her gaze followed me the whole time, watching me walk toward her step by step. Shuwan had imagined this scene so many times. Only now had it finally come true. The man at the table seemed to sense it too. After all, the two before him had clearly stopped paying attention to him. Their thoughts were on someone behind him, even though he had watched him countless times and copied him just as often. Jiang was still stunned by me. I folded my arms across my chest, lazily sizing him up. I knew he was Jiang. This was our first formal meeting. I said nothing, given my standing. Naturally, I waited for him to greet me first. Jiang dipped into a slight bow, wearing a perfectly measured smile. Hello, Mr. Shi. I am Jiang. We shared a stage before. Though you may not remember, I had indeed shared a stage with him. It had only been an award ceremony, and I had indeed forgotten him. Still, I replied lazily. Hello. Jiang showed no sign of leaving. He continued, Mr. Shi, are you and CEO Gu out with your daughter? Your daughter is adorable. I never expected CEO Gu, who is so meticulous at work, to be such a devoted family woman in private. I looked at the man before me. My eyes held a new note of scrutiny. The polite smile on my lips grew a touch more animated. If I remember correctly, this should be Xiang's first time meeting Shuwan. His work had nothing to do with hers. Amused, I said, Shuwan has always been this way. And how would you know what she is like normally? When Shuwan heard what I called her, her heart gave a violent tremor. I had never addressed her so intimately, not even when putting on an act. Just hearing me call her that made her incredibly happy. Xiang's expression did not change at all. It is only what people say. Rumors should never be trusted. Some even say that Mr. Shi and CEO Gu do not get along, that your marriage is unhappy. But now it seems the rumors truly cannot be trusted. I laughed. Rumors certainly cannot be trusted. At least Mr. Chu understands that. It is getting late. We have plans this afternoon. Please excuse us. Jiang clenched his teeth inwardly. What was that supposed to mean? Calling him someone who understood. Wasn't that plainly saying he was delusional? And claiming your relationship was good? Who in all of A City would believe that? Jiang slowly stepped aside, turning his eyes toward the woman beside him. Shuwan had already risen and taken Sisi's hand. Jiang stood there, watching their family of three leave. Without moving, he stared at that tall, slender figure. How many times had it been? He could only watch her and follow her from afar. Shuwan, how I wished I could call you that too. But it was only a foolish dream. Before, I was not even worthy to stand before you. But now, I finally stood before you. Yet you did not even know my name. I smiled and explained that I was the boy you supported 5 years ago. Only then did you vaguely remember me. Yet you remembered Xiang's every little habit perfectly. Why? Why could it not be me? 10 minutes earlier, Jiang had reluctantly been having lunch with a friend. He never expected to run into Shuwan here. Jiang immediately straightened his wrinkled clothes, hoping that when he approached her, she would still remember him. But when Jiang carefully walked up to the table, before he could decide how to introduce himself, Shuwan slightly furrowed her brow. Her tone was calm. Sir, is there something you need? Jiang gave what he thought was his most flattering smile. CEO Gu, I am Jiang. Do you remember me? Shuwan's frown deepened. She asked in return. Why would I remember you? Xiang's newly formed smile froze on his face. I am the college student you supported 5 years ago. We met once 5 years ago. I play the violin. I have achieved something now. Before he could finish, he could already feel that the woman before him was no longer focused on him. Jiang gave a bitter smile, then composed his smile again, and turned away. He remembered how Shuwan had saved him from despair 5 years earlier. He had just turned 18 then. He had been accepted into the music academy of his dreams. His family had never been well off, and his father's car accident made things even worse. His father was still unconscious. His mother had always been in poor health. They had borrowed from every relative they could, with nowhere else to turn. He planned to leave school and work for money. Giving up the college he loved was more than he could bear. That day, outside the school gates, he broke down crying without a care for appearances. But fate has a strange way of playing jokes. Jiang met Shuwan, whom Siqi had stood up when she came to take him home. Shuwan took him to a restaurant. In that sweltering summer, she ordered him a strawberry ice cream. She paid off his father's medical bills and funded his education. He was truly grateful to Shuwan. Jiang cried until tears and snot ran down his face. Hearing footsteps, he looked up at her. The blazing sun shone behind her. From then on, she became the light in his world. Meanwhile, Xiang's interruption had put me in an inexplicably bad mood. The moment we faced off, I knew he had designs on Shuwan. Perhaps sensing my mood, Shuwan soothingly rubbed my palm. Her voice was quiet but resolute. A-Jin, you are the only one by my side, and you always will be. The corner of my lips lifted. I replied, I know. I took Shuwan's hand and led her onward to continue having fun. Soon, I put the matter out of my mind. Looking at the graceful figure on the carousel, it was as if I had traveled through time and saw the little girl in a princess dress from 17 years ago. My fingertips trembled as I took out my phone and tried several times. At last, I captured that frozen moment. The woman on the white carousel horse wore a youthful, playful outfit. Both hands gripped the rail tightly. Her loose hair drifted softly in the breeze. She wore the smile I knew so well. Sisi watched her father, as if he had lost all sense of the world around him. She tugged at my sleeve. I looked down at her. My eyes were so dark, it was as if ink had pooled in them, completely black. After a moment, clarity slowly returned to my eyes. What is it? Little Sisi said slowly. Mommy is calling you. I looked up. Shuwan was still waving at me. A-Jin, come to. It is so much fun. The carousel started up again. Shuwan took my hand. I turned to look at her, but Shuwan smiled. For a moment, I was utterly captivated. Without knowing why, I foolishly smiled along with her. Little Sisi looked at the man and woman on the phone. Both wore white shirts and blue pants. They smiled tenderly as they gazed at each other. They were simply made for each other. Sisi held up the phone, asking Shuwan to praise her. But Shuwan took the phone, staring at the screen without blinking. Her fingers gently traced the person in the photo. Her eyes were filled with stars, glittering brilliantly. Seeing Sisi's crestfallen face, I reached for her little head and gave it several vigorous rubs before I was satisfied. We had so much fun that day. We had agreed to leave at 8, but then I wanted to see the 9 o'clock fireworks. Naturally, Shuwan indulged me. When we returned to Xinghai Villa, Sisi went to play in her room for a while. Then Shuwan took her for a bath. Feeling a little thirsty, I went downstairs and poured myself a glass of water. When I did not see Shuwan, I went to Sisi's room. Inside, I heard only the rush of water from the bathroom. Just as I was about to leave, I caught sight of a notebook on her desk. I knew it was wrong to read a child's diary, but I could not resist my curiosity. I thought, I took Sisi to the amusement park today. We had such a wonderful time. She would surely praise me lavishly. But every word in that childish handwriting pierced my heart. I bit my lip hard, refusing to make a sound, but tears were already slipping down my face. Daddy, you probably do not know this. When you were not home, Mommy told me so many things about you. What fruits you like, what awards you have won. Whenever Mommy talked about those things, the happiness in her eyes would plainly fade. Every night's bedtime story was never a fairy tale. It was every little thing that happened to you. From those stories, I imagine your life, vivid and carefree. But Mommy could not be so carefree. So, do not be surprised. We have not spent much time together, but I know many of your little habits. So, Daddy, could you please stop? Look back at Mommy and me. We can barely keep up with you. I am so scared that you will leave Mommy and me behind. Although Sisi was very smart and learned quickly, she was still only a preschooler. There were many characters she could not write yet, so she could only spell them out in pinyin. Her handwriting was crooked and clumsy, yet it spoke the most heartbreaking words in the world. I covered my mouth with my hand and flipped back several pages. As I read her earlier diary entries, I fought to steady my hands. As I put the diary back exactly where it had been, I ran to my bedroom, rushed into the bathroom, and slammed the door shut. With my back against it, I slowly slid to the floor. Only then could I finally lower my hands. Tears fell in strings, like pearls. Thinking of those clumsy words I had just read, my heart felt as if it had been cut to pieces. I am sorry. I was truly wrong. I truly did not know that in your hearts, I had hurt you both so deeply. And Sisi, she was only 4 years old. She was so young, yet far too sensitive. Could something be wrong with her emotionally too? And what about Shuwan? Did she know about Sisi's condition? I looked at myself in the mirror. My hair was disheveled, my eyes red-rimmed, my lips pale. I took several deep breaths and slowly exhaled, not daring to stay away too long. I hurriedly washed my face. Then I returned to bed, buried my head beneath the covers, and pretended to be sound asleep. I struggled to calm my shaking body and steady my breathing. When Shuwan returned, she found me wrapped up like a caterpillar. Her lips curved into a smile. She quietly climbed into bed, gathered me into her arms, tucked the covers around me, and wrapped both arms tightly around my waist. Only then did she slowly drift to sleep. But after waiting for Shuwan's breathing to even out, I slowly opened my eyes. I looked at Shuwan and thought about so many things. I reflected on everything I had done these past 4 years. Leaving Shuwan aside for the moment, Sisi was still my own child. How could I feel nothing for her? But her very existence had been a mistake. She had come into this world at the wrong time. She was the result of Shuwan's deliberate scheme. If not for that year, when Shuwan trembled as she knelt and begged me to sign to let Sisi stay, on the condition that I would be free afterward, Sisi would never have come into this world. I had been running away all along, for more than 4 years. Using work as an excuse, I deliberately came home less often. I deliberately avoided watching Sisi grow up. I did not know how to face this child. Haixiu and Qinfei exchanged a look. In each other's eyes, they saw helplessness and heartache. Qinfei had never imagined that I would drink myself senseless twice in 1 month, not caring about anything, focus only on getting drunk. Haixiu looked confused. Twice in 1 month? Qinfei gave him a firm nod. In an instant, Haixiu understood. Haixiu reached out and stopped me from pouring another drink. A-Jin, you cannot keep drinking. What happened? He had been at school preparing lessons when he got a call from Qinfei, saying he had seen me drinking alone at a bar and telling him to hurry over. Qinfei said helplessly, "That is just how A-Jin is. He never likes talking about what is wrong. He just keeps it all bottled up. If I had not come here with a young woman tonight, I would never have known this young master was drinking alone tonight." I laughed bitterly at myself. Everyone envies me. I used to be the eldest son of the Shi family. Now I am Shuwan's husband. I have a wife who loves me more than life itself, and a sweet, intelligent daughter. Staring at the drink in my glass, I choked out, "I married someone I do not love. The person I love deceived me. I almost forgot I have another role." Qinfei soothingly patted my back. He knew exactly how I had been all these years. Of course, he had seen it all clearly. I have another identity. I am a father. A failed father. After saying that, I drained my glass in 1 gulp. Yet the tears in my eyes still spilled uncontrollably. At those words, Haixiu and Qinfei understood the situation well enough. Haixiu sighed. Children need their father's presence most of all. Sisi is sensitive and vulnerable. Why not bring her to see me in a few days? Haixiu was a professor of child psychology. He knew this field well. I lowered my eyes and quietly refused. Sisi is different from other children. She would not accept counseling. How about we start with a test? Come to my house in a few days. Act casual, and do not let her notice. What do you think? Haixiu thought it over, then nodded. That could work. By the time Shuwan arrived, I was already drunk and asleep. While I was still awake, I would not let them call Gu Shuwan. Only after I fell asleep did they dare call President Gu to pick me up. Gu Shuwan's face was dark. She draped her coat over me, covering my alluring, exposed body, and hauled me to my feet. Still, she thanked Haixiu and Qin Fei. The two quickly waved it off. A thank you from the CEO of Gu Corporation. How could they dare accept it? Assistant Chen hurried after his boss. Looking at President Gu in the backseat, he did not dare make a sound. Gu Shuwan had an unavoidable business engagement that night. She called to tell me she might be home late, but she could never reach me. I did not answer her text or messages either. Just as she was about to call Qin Fei, he called her first. Gu Shuwan rushed over from the dinner. What she found was me, dead drunk. Besides anger, she also felt a deep sadness. Gu Shuwan sat by the bed, watching the person in bed sleep soundly without a care. She whispered, "You big liar." At last, the weekend arrived. Haixiu and Sisi were both free. Haixiu held a test paper and said to Sisi, "Little Sisi, Uncle has a newly prepared test here, but no one to try it out. Would you help Uncle out?" Nearby, Sisi was playing with the new Lego set I had bought her. At that, she looked toward her father. I stroked Sisi's little head. She even nuzzled her head into my palm. I had discovered that Sisi loved it when I rubbed her head. "Help Uncle G out, and Daddy will take you for fried chicken again next time." Hearing that, Sisi quickly stood up, took Haixiu's test paper, and announced loudly, "Mission accepted." Then she scampered upstairs to her room. Haixiu smiled. "From what I see, Sisi should be fine. At least she still trusts you." I did not respond. Instead, I changed the subject. "What have you been busy with this week? Cleaning up Lu Qingqing's mess again?" When it comes to love, outsiders always see things more clearly. Haixiu stared at the coffee in his hand, in silence. His silence was an admission. Qin Fei snorted. "You two really ought to balance each other out. One of you loves too much, while the other is cold and heartless because he does not love at all." Ignoring Qin Fei's teasing, I looked at Haixiu. Does it really have to be her? Haixiu gave a bitter smile. Who else could I ever love but her? Haixiu and I grew up together. I knew how stubborn he was, but I never knew he could be this stubborn. Qin Fei could not hold back his fiery temper any longer. "After all these years, you should have seen it clearly. She does not love you, yet you keep cleaning up every mess she makes. A celebrity today, some young college student tomorrow." Haixiu shouted in rebuttal, his hands trembling. "Fake. It is all fake. It is all fake. She may not love me, but she does not love anyone else either." His voice dropped again, as if he were speaking to himself. "Maybe, little by little, she will come to love me." Qin Fei and I looked at Haixiu like this, both of us stunned for a moment. I wondered if Gu Shuwan was like Haixiu too, waiting without hope. Qin Fei looked terrified. Men are terrifying. It is better to want nothing. None of us spoke again, giving Haixiu time to collect himself. Within minutes, Sisi came downstairs, her completed test in hand. Looking at the three strange adults before her, Sisi carefully handed the paper to Haixiu. Haixiu took it, gave it a quick glance, and rubbed Sisi's head. "Sisi, you are amazing. Thank you for helping Uncle. Next time, Uncle will bring you something tasty. How about fried chicken?" Sisi nodded obediently and politely replied, "Thank you, Uncle G." Seeing such an adorable child, Haixiu and Qin Fei's hearts melted. Though they were my closest friends, they had only met Sisi a few times. That was because Sisi and I had not been close before. Before leaving, Haixiu told me he would take the test results back to study them, then call me with his findings. After Haixiu and Qin Fei left, I watched Sisi build Lego on the couch. Without changing expression, Sisi kept building. Lately, Daddy had often looked at her that way. She did not know what he was thinking. That evening, while Gu Shuwan bathed Sisi, little Sisi looked at her mother uncertainly. "Mommy, what exactly was that thing Uncle G asked me to do?" Gu Shuwan picked up the showerhead and rinsed the bubbles from Sisi's body. "It was just an ordinary test. Did Mommy not tell you the answers?" She took a towel and dried Sisi off, then dressed her in pajamas. She stroked her little cheek. "About video calling Mommy. Do not tell Daddy. It is our little secret. Do you understand?" Sisi nodded dazedly, wobbling a little. After receiving the test paper, Sisi did not immediately do the test in her room. Instead, she secretly video called her mother. Gu Shuwan, on the video call, saw the paper on the desk, and fell silent for quite some time. Only then did she tell Sisi which answer to choose for each question. "Mommy said that if I listened to her, Daddy would love her more, and spend more time with her." For days, I had been waiting for news from Haixiu. At last, Haixiu called, but he said it could not be explained over the phone. He told me to come to the school, so we could speak face to face in his office. I was restless the entire way. The drive was only 20 minutes, yet it felt like half a lifetime. Haixiu handed me a diagnostic report, his expression grave. He was always serious and responsible at work. Based on Sisi's latest test, his conclusion was that Sisi likely had mild depression and autism. Sisi seems sensible and polite, with a very high intelligence, but her inner world is far more troubled than her obedient exterior suggests. You need to pay closer attention. There was something Haixiu did not say. Sisi was just like her mother. I closed my eyes, my body swaying slightly. Haixiu quickly added, "Do not frighten yourself just yet. This is only based on one test form. We still need further assessments to know for certain, and it is only mild. Do not worry. I will help you." I did not know what to say. My face was pale. At that moment, words felt utterly powerless. It is no use. This is my sin. I should be the one to atone for it. Haixiu became agitated. What nonsense are you talking about? Qian, listen to me. Do not ever say that again. Sisi does not blame you either. Just spend more time with her and Shuwan from now on. I nodded despondently. I had to do something to make it up to them. While waiting outside the school for Sisi, I slapped my cheeks hard inside the car, trying to bring some color back to my face. Then I got out and waved at Sisi as she left the school. Sisi ran joyfully toward her father and threw herself right into my arms. Her little head peeked behind me, but she did not see anyone there. Looking at such an adorable Sisi, I could not imagine her suffering from depression. I pinched Sisi's chubby cheek. Do you have much homework today? If not, Daddy will take you somewhere fun. How does that sound? Sisi rolled her eyes thoughtfully. I finished all my homework at school. If we are going out, can we bring Mommy along too? I looked at Sisi and finally understood what her words and that little peek behind me had meant. More than time alone with me. She wanted our whole family to be together. She longed for the warmth of a real home. I took Sisi's hand and led her to the car. All right. Let us pick Mommy up from work. Then we can go have fun together. When we arrived at the company, we had not given any notice. Shuwan was in a meeting when they learned the boss's husband had arrived with the little heiress. As a capable and devoted executive assistant, Assistant Shen rushed over to flatter him. No, to serve him, of course. Assistant Shen wore a polite smile. Mr. Shi, President Gu is still in a meeting. Please take the little heiress to her office and rest first. I will notify President Gu right away. Sisi rarely came to the Gu group either. She looked around with curiosity. Whenever she saw a young woman, she would blink sweetly at her. The nearby secretaries had already been won over by Sisi. Oh my. The little heiress is still so adorable. I shook my head and checked my watch. 5 in the afternoon was not that late. No need. We will wait for her in the office. Go get back to work. Assistant Chen had no choice but to agree. He did not dare defy this man. But if his boss learned her husband had come, and he had not told her, his year-end bonus would be gone. Fortunately, the meeting was nearly over. I took Sisi into the office. We had not even watched cartoons for a few minutes before Shuwan hurried in. Assistant Chen sheepishly rubbed his nose behind her. Of course, he had not wanted to disturb this big shot, but President Gu seemed to have a sixth sense. Without saying a word, she merely cast him a glance, and he told her everything. The moment she saw us, all her agitation slowly faded. 2 voices rang out at once. Mommy, A-Qian, I said helplessly. Why are you in such a rush? I am not going anywhere. Shuwan pouted. But I wanted to see you sooner. Seeing that Mommy had not noticed her, Sisi made her presence known again. Mommy, Daddy is taking us out to have fun. Let us go. I cleared my throat twice and said a little awkwardly, there is this newly opened place. Haixiu and Qin Fei do not have time to go with me. You just seem pretty free. So, you can come along. Shuwan broke into a smile. Her dark eyes lit up. Her brows were graceful, her gaze bright. With her lips curving upward, the sharpness of her features softened. She looked like a beautiful princess. Looking at Shuwan like that, I thought for a moment, then quickly spoke. Are you not going to handle your work? Shuwan glanced at Assistant Chen, without a trace of emotion. Assistant Chen does not need to spend time with his wife. He does not even have a girlfriend. Leave the rest to Assistant Chen. So he has somewhere to put all that energy. Assistant Chen awkwardly scratched his head. Just listen to her. Listen to her. Is that any way to talk about someone? I took mother and daughter to a pottery studio. It was a long-established craft workshop. It was not very large, but it was cozy and tastefully decorated. The owner was a gentle, sweet young woman. As soon as we entered, the owner came over. This young woman was Haixiu's student. The former owner had grown old and fallen ill, so she had taken over her grandfather's shop. She led me to a seat by the window and explained how to make handmade cups, wedging the clay, throwing it, and shaping it, drying, carving, glazing, and firing. Since Sisi was still young, she chose to make a small teacup. Shuwan and I both chose wide-mouthed coffee mugs. I chose it because it seemed easiest, while Shuwan simply wanted to make the same thing as me. Later, we could paint them as matching couples mugs. Couples mugs made with our own hands. I grabbed a lump of clay and began shaping it. The wheel spun so fast that I could not keep the clay centered. The shape would not form, and clay flew everywhere. After several failed attempts, I irritably grabbed another lump of clay. I looked to either side. Shuwan had nearly finished throwing hers. Her slender, defined hands were covered in clay, which somehow made her feel more down to earth. Under her hands, the clay behaved like a trained monkey, changing however she wanted. Then I looked at Sisi. Her tiny teacup had already taken shape. Even a 4-year-old was better at this than I was. I immediately wanted to quit and leave. I had never been a patient person. I saved my patience for people and things I loved, like playing the violin day after day for 10 years. Shuwan sensed my frustration. She stopped her wheel, washed the clay from her hands, and took hold of my wrist. You are pressing too hard. Touch it lightly, like this. Just work along the upper edge. Sure enough, the clay beneath my hands acted like an obedient little brat. It dutifully became the shape I wanted. For some reason, perhaps because the window was open, the sunset glowed against my profile, and the tips of my ears turned red. 2 hours had passed. After firing, the cups would still need to air dry in a cool place for several days. I arranged with the owner to collect them in a few days. Night had drawn its curtain across the sky, and stars appeared in scattered clusters. The temperature dropped that evening. The daytime heat was gone. A gentle breeze drifted by, carrying a hint of coolness. My mind was unusually clear. I suddenly let go of Shuwan's tightly clasped hand. Shuwan's smile, which had lasted all afternoon, slowly fell. She said nothing, but took my hand again and held it tightly. This time, she laced our fingers together. Seeing Shuwan act so childishly, I pulled my hand free again with some effort. Smiling, I poked Shuwan's cheek. It feels pretty nice. I slipped an arm around Shuwan's waist and pulled her into my arms. Seeing that, Shuwan happily nestled against me. The villa was not far from here. Beneath the crescent moon and stars, we linked arms and headed home in the moonlight, planning to walk home. We had completely forgotten our daughter was beside us, watching her oblivious parents ahead. Sisi let out a theatrical sigh. With parents this hopeless, what else could she do? Just follow them, obviously. Neither of us spoke. Shuwan did not want to break this hard-won moment of peaceful closeness. As for me, I was deep in thought. Sisi was sick now, but neither Shuwan nor Sisi herself knew it. I did not know how to tell Shuwan. Would Shuwan blame herself? Would she blame herself for not taking better care of Sisi? Just then, my stomach protested. After going to Haixiu and learning the truth, how could I have had any appetite? My stomach growled twice. I quickly covered it with both hands and looked at Shuwan. Shuwan covered her smile with a hand. Embarrassed and annoyed, I snapped. What are you laughing at? I am hungry. I cannot walk anymore. Help me get home. As I spoke, I fell toward Shuwan. Shuwan had no time to react. Instinctively, she caught me by the waist with both hands. Shuwan's brow twitched as she scolded me sharply. Do you know how dangerous that was? What if I had not caught you? What if you got her? By the end, her eyes had turned red, and her voice choked slightly. What am I supposed to do with you? At first, I thought it was no big deal. I am not a child. It was not like I would fall that easily. Besides, you were there. You were there. I froze. It turned out that Shuwan, in my heart, had long since become my sense of safety. With her by my side, I believed I would always be safe. Looking at Shuwan, so prone to overreacting and getting emotional, I did not dare argue with her. I held her tightly and obediently admitted I was wrong. I will not do it again. Is that all right? You were there, after all. Hearing my answer, Shuwan's heart suddenly softened. Her voice still trembled from fright. Do not ever do that again. She feared nothing, except something happening to me. Then she steadily supported me as we walked on. Sisi watched her parents argue one moment and laugh the next. She did not understand grown-up matters at all. When we got home, the butler spotted 3 figures in the distance. They were hazy beneath the lights, yet he instantly recognized President Gu and her husband, along with little Sisi. The butler hurried over. Shuwan and little Sisi were clearly in high spirits. Shuwan only looked a little tired. Other than that, all was well. Uncle Wang, you should all go home. Get some rest early. Yes, President Gu. Uncle Wang thoughtfully dismissed the other household staff. President Gu did not like them lingering around, because she preferred being alone with her husband. At the front door, Shuwan still would not let me stand on my own. She supported me through the rose garden. The roses released their fragrance in the caress of the breeze. It was alluring, yet not overpowering. She settled me onto the sofa and placed a glass of warm water before me. I will make you something to eat. What would you like? I took a sip of water and gave a lazy yawn, watching Shuwan bustle around. It is so late. Do not trouble yourself. It is not late. It will be quick. I will be done soon. Go look at your phone for a while. With that, she headed into the kitchen. Sisi was not even as tall as Shuwan's thigh. Though Shuwan was supporting me, we still walked much faster than her little legs could manage. Sisi had to hurry to keep up with mommy and daddy. By now, she was panting from exhaustion. She flopped onto the sofa, glanced at daddy calmly drinking water, and felt a little wronged. Why did it feel like Once Daddy came home, Mommy could not see her anymore. Mommy, am I not your little sweetheart anymore? Fortunately, this mother still had some conscience. She knew Sisi was thirsty, and specially ladled her a bowl of soup. Sisi sat on the sofa, took a spoonful of soup, and savored it happily. Thank you, Mommy. It is so good. Shuwan, however, felt a little guilty. Thankfully, the child did not know that the soup she was drinking was the leftover broth after she had served Jiang his noodles. After I had eaten and drunk my fill, my phone rang. I glanced at Shuwan and answered it. Hello, Dad. The voice on the other end was imposing, yet full of unconcealed affection. His tone softened without realizing it when speaking to his son. Xiqi, why did you come back without calling your dad? Where are you now? I absently stirred the leftover broth in my bowl. My voice was gentle. A tone like this that only surfaced around family. I have been busy these past few days. I am home now. I just finished dinner. You ungrateful brat. Come home for dinner this weekend. Your mom misses you. I will invite your sister too. Mother Shi, listening nearby, pinched Father Shi's thigh. Why does it have to be me missing our son? You old fool always use me as your shield. Alright, I get it. I know. I will hang up now, Dad. With that, I hung up. Mother Shi pressed him. Well, what did he say? Do not forget to tell him to bring our granddaughter. Father Shi sighed. I had not finished speaking before he hung up. Mother Shi turned and went upstairs. Before leaving, she shot Father Shi a glare. Useless man, Father Shi said helplessly. What did I do to deserve this? After hanging up, I looked up and saw the mother and daughter. Their eyes sparkled with expectation. This time was different. If I treated her well again, she would be able to feel it. Shuwan glanced at me as though nothing was amiss, then looked away. I have nothing to do this weekend. I have not been very busy all week. Seeing Mommy had made her move, Sisi refused to be outdone. Daddy, I have nothing to do this weekend either. I have nothing to do every weekend. I understood they wanted to come to the Shi family home with me. Looking at the big one and the little one before me, my mischievous side took over. Feigning seriousness. Nothing to do on weekends? Did Mommy not enroll you in tutoring or activity classes? Shuwan froze at that. She truly had not enrolled Sisi in any tutoring or activity classes. She did not think they were necessary. All she wanted was for Sisi to be happy. She had not had the means to learn such things as a child, so she knew little about them. But I was different. I had learned all kinds of things since childhood. Music, calligraphy, painting, and math Olympiad training. I cut off what Shuwan was about to say. Obviously, she thought I was blaming her. It is good you did not sign her up for all that nonsense. With me here, why would she need other teachers? Sisi and Shuwan looked at me in surprise. What did that mean? Was I going to teach Sisi music myself? Sisi was clearly delighted. Daddy could teach her himself. That meant Daddy would spend even more time by her side. Sisi nodded eagerly. Yes, I want to learn violin. I stroked Sisi's head. Study hard, and I will take you to see your grandparents this weekend. Okay. I will study hard. Her grandparents already adore her. Shuwan grew a little anxious beside us. Xinghai. Of course, I knew what Shuwan wanted to say, so I did not make things difficult for her. I curled my lips into a smile. When we go home, of course the whole family goes together. Hearing that, Shuwan let out a breath of relief. The whole family. Jin was acknowledging them. They were a family. Seeing Daddy was in a good mood. Sisi told me what her teacher had said today. Daddy, this Saturday, our school is holding a parent-child event. Will you have time to come? I gave it some thought. A parent-child event. That sounded nice. I had never attended one before. I have time. Do not worry. Daddy will definitely be there. Shuwan gave a small cough. A parent-child event probably requires both parents, right? Sisi glanced at Mommy. Yes, Mommy. You have to come too. Shuwan answered. Okay, Mommy and Daddy will both be there. It still did not feel real to Sisi. Her greatest wish had come true just like that. Over this time, I had recovered enough. One morning, after getting up and washing up, I drove to the music academy at A University. Work could be delayed, but it could not be abandoned. After parking, I went straight to the dean's office. Along the way, students kept looking my way. One bold girl blushed as she called me a junior and asked for my WeChat. I smiled. Miss, I am not your junior. The girl's face reddened further. I looked so handsome and young that she had assumed I was a younger student. Then you are a senior? I raised a brow and smiled. You could say that. Without another glance at her, I walked away. I spent a while exchanging pleasantries with the dean. Mostly, he praised my success at such a young age, for never forgetting the education that had shaped me, or neglected to return and teach at my old school. I was assigned music classes, class 1901, and class 1902. Each class had 2 lessons a week, only for lessons in total. It was easy enough. I happened to have a class that day. As I entered the classroom, I looked at the vibrant young students, bursting with life. Their energy rubbed off on me. My blood seemed to surge in an instant. Seated among the crowd, that striking fair-skinned girl saw who had entered. Before the delight in her eyes could emerge, the conversation that followed drove it back. What replaced it was dazzlement, admiration, and a barely perceptible sadness. I swept my gaze across the classroom. It was packed. Hello, everyone. I am Qian. I will be your instructor this semester. After my introduction, no one moved. Several long seconds passed, and the air froze. Only then did the students come to their senses, breaking into thunderous applause. I felt a little awkward. These students looked intelligent. Did they have something wrong with them? The students' awe and shock were plainly written across their faces. Oh my god, Qian. Is he the Qian I know? Wow, he is ridiculously handsome. He is even better looking than in his photos. Professor Shi is teaching us. Is this real? I could cry. How did we get this lucky? I hope Professor Wang keeps having babies. Enough to make a soccer team. And never comes back. A classmate nudged the girl hard. Siqi, it is Qian. Your dream man. Your idol. Your favorite musician. Jiang Siqi ignored her astonished friend. She only stared blankly at the podium, at the man not far from her. Perhaps fate truly had its own designs. The first person she had ever approached was the man she had admired for so long. The moment she first saw me today, she felt an odd sense of familiarity. What was more, she had never imagined the dazzling man on stage would appear here, at her school. Then I began the lesson. The students truly were excited, but they quickly settled down. I stepped down from the podium. Students of music usually came from wealthy or influential families. Their instruments were all very expensive and carried with them to class. This lesson focused on violin playing techniques. As I walked around, I corrected students' mistakes. When I reached Jiang Siqi, her palms were already damp with nervous sweat. Still, she played the entire piece through. The piece, Reluctant to Let Go, was one of my greatest hits. I looked at the girl blushing before me and found it a little amusing. What is your name? She finally looked up at me. My name is Jiang Siqi. I smiled. You play well, little junior. Those words threw the girl's emotions into turmoil. She had called me a junior when we first met. Jiang Siqi desperately wished she could go back an hour and slap herself twice. How could she have been so stupid? But Qian had also graduated from a university's music academy. He really was her senior from the same school. And now, he was her teacher. A young girl's first flutter of attraction, the budding of love, often begins in a single moment. The bell rang, yet not one student moved. I reminded them that class was over, and they could take a break. One boy stood up, looking embarrassed. He had held it in all class, then reined in his excitement and said, Professor Shi, I am a fan. Could you give me your autograph? I paused in surprise. Of course. For a moment, I had actually forgotten that I was the famed violin heartthrob. It was strange, standing here. Even my restless heart became calm. These students had the purest eyes. For those 2 hours, I felt like nothing more than an ordinary music teacher. The moment I agreed, voices immediately rose one after another. Me too. Professor Shi, I am your fan too. Please sign one for me too. I was stunned for a second. Since when did I have so many fans? What I did not know was that I had long become a legend at a university's music academy. The academy's students all looked up to me. They practiced my pieces diligently. Fortunately, this was a small class, with fewer than 30 students. Otherwise, my arm would have been dead by the end of the day. After watching the students get their autographs and leave one by one, Jiang Siqi kept urging herself on. Senior, could you sign one for me too? I raised a brow. Why does everyone else call me Professor Shi, but you alone call me senior? Of course, Jiang Siqi did not dare say that she wanted to be different from everyone else. Did you not say you were my senior? Besides, you really are my senior. Jiang Siqi's retort left me speechless. She was right. I was the one who had called myself her senior. Noticing she had neither paper nor pen, I asked, where should I sign? Jiang Siqi looked a little embarrassed. She was only wearing a white t-shirt. She pointed at her back. I did not bring any paper. Could you sign here? I did not think much of it. Many fans wanted their idol's signatures on their clothes, their skin, and all sorts of places. I quickly signed my name. All right. It is getting late. You should head back. I put away my pen and smiled. Jiang Siqi had the intelligent grace of a college student. She excelled academically and had a cheerful nature. She was also one of the music academy's belles. Yet around me, she acted like a silly girl. She scratched her head and smiled shyly. When Xiyang arrived, this was the scene she found. The girl was smiling brightly, while the boy's face was flushed. Xiyang clenched her hands. She strode over, threw an arm around me, and held me tight. It was a clear declaration that I was hers. What took you so long? Her tone was deeply intimate. Jiang Siqi looked at the woman who had suddenly entered. Her brows were sharp as blades, and her eyes as deep as the sea. Yet when she looked at the man beside her, her gaze melted into pure tenderness. The students asked for my autograph, so I was delayed a little. There was a hint of pride in my expression as I spoke. Xiyang turned her gaze to the girl. She was beautiful, glowing with youthful energy, and Xiyang was already 28. She was nearly 30. Would a Jin dislike an old woman? Did he prefer younger women? Xiyang's brows lowered, making Jiang Siqi feel pressured. Hello, I am A-Qian's wife, Shuwan. Jiang Siqi felt as though she had been jolted awake from a dream. Shuwan, the current head of the Gu group. Shuwan's husband was Xiqian. Xiqian was actually married, and he had married Shuwan. Jiang Siqi waved in greeting. I am Professor Xi's student, Jiang Siqi. Seeing how awkward their introduction was, I could only smooth things over. We are going out to eat. Jiang Siqi, would you like to join us? The moment I said that, not only Jiang Siqi, but even I could feel the chill radiating from the person beside me. Luckily, Jiang Siqi was tactful. Senior, you two go ahead. My roommate is waiting for me. I will head back to the dorm first. With that, Jiang Siqi grabbed her backpack and ran from the classroom. But she could feel a gaze boring into her back, sending cold sweat down her spine. Why did you write your name on another woman? At the thought of me touching someone else, she wanted to tear that woman apart. Oh. You mean the autograph? She did not bring paper, so I signed her shirt. When Shuwan heard my answer, her expression darkened further. You smiled at her and even invited her to dinner. And now you had touched her too. Were you planning to bring her home next? After saying that, Shuwan fell silent. She went straight to the podium, gathered my things, picked up my bag, and walked out. Once outside, she realized that heartless man had not come after her. Her anger instantly turned to her. She was like a sulking young wife. Watching Shuwan's string of actions, I blinked, then hurried after her. Oh. She was angry. She was waiting for me to coax her. Shuwan, wait for me. I cannot keep up with you. The proud, stubborn Shuwan did not stop walking when she heard me, but her pace slowed considerably. I looped my arm through hers. Come on, do not be angry. Today was the first time I had met that girl. She is only my student. Besides, she is so much younger than me. How could anything happen? The proud, stubborn Shuwan kept insisting. I am not angry. What would I be angry about? I said with a grin. Right? You are not angry. Before Shuwan could say anything else, I quickly cut her off. I am starving. Teaching takes a lot out of me. Let us go eat. Shuwan let out a soft sigh. She slipped her hands from my arms, then took my hand. Our fingers intertwined. She liked the feeling of our fingers intertwined, because it let her hold on to me tightly. The next morning, when I woke up, I carefully slipped my hand from Shuwan's palm. I had no idea why she had this annoying habit. She even had to hold hands while sleeping. I poked Shuwan's cheek, still not satisfied. I was about to take things further when Shuwan opened her eyes. She was fully awake, smiling at me. My face instantly turned red. This woman had been awake all along, pretending to be asleep. Shuwan gave a cool smile. Ajin, you are teasing me so early in the morning. You cannot turn me on and then leave me hanging. I sprang up and rushed into the bathroom. I had not forgotten last night's blush-inducing, heart-tracing moments. Watching me flee in a panic, Shuwan smiled. Then she threw back the covers and strode into the bathroom after me. Let's shower together. By 10, we were both dressed. We set off for Sisi's kindergarten. Fortunately, Shuwan had some sense. She knew we were attending an event today, so she had not left any marks where they would show. The children were already at the front gate, waiting for their parents. As the other children's parents arrived one after another, Sisi lowered her eyes. They said they would come. Mom and Dad had promised they would not forget. Sisi, have your parents not come yet? After Jiang was taught a lesson last time, she became Sisi's good friend. At least, Jiang thought so on her own. Not yet. Sisi kept watching the road across from her and the cars passing by. Jiang said with a smile, your mom and dad must have been delayed. They will probably be here soon. I'm heading out. My mom is here. Bye-bye. Sisi felt even sadder. Other children had moms and dads. She had nothing. If they had clearly told her from the start that they would not come, she would not have been this heartbroken. But why give her hope, only to let it be crushed? Still, Sisi stubbornly stared at the gate. Her eyes stung from staring, but she refused to turn away. She did not want a repeat of last time. The other children played games with their parents, while she could only hide away and cry. Just as Sisi was about to give up and head for her secret hideout, she spotted a familiar license plate from the corner of her eye. Then the man got out, walked around to the other side, opened the door, and led the woman over by the hand. Sisi could no longer hold back and ran toward them, just like the classmates she had envied. The moment I looked up, I saw my daughter, standing all alone at the gate. A female teacher stood behind her. I had barely raised my hand to wave, and had not even called her name, when Sisi crashed into my arms. Her arms wrapped tightly around my waist, and I felt something warm and wet. Shuwan stared at my waist, wrapped in Sisi's arms, and frowned. But when she saw Sisi's trembling shoulders, she said nothing. I rubbed Sisi's head. What is wrong, sweetheart? Why are you crying? Sisi buried her head deeper. I was not crying. The wind just blew sand into my eyes. I smiled. Is that so? But there does not seem to be any wind today. The teacher came over as well. She was the homeroom teacher who handled the fight last time. Looking at Sisi buried in her father's arms, she said, Sisi has been waiting for you nearly an hour. All the other parents have arrived. I asked her to wait in the classroom, but she refused. She insisted on waiting for you here. Sisi finally lifted her head from my arms. Her eyes were red. I thought you had forgotten. I crouched down and gently rubbed the corners of Sisi's eyes. Dad promised to come. How could I not come? It is all Mom's fault for getting the time wrong and taking forever at home. Shuwan was unfairly blamed. Sisi glanced at her mother, silently holding